All right. All right, Kyle, whenever you're ready.
All right. The 30s and 40s were a great time of change, and change around the world during this event was because the Second World War was going on, and in the United States, change came gradually until one single event was Pearl Harbor, which really made the change to the United States grow rapidly. And one person who was affected by this was Walt Disney, because them and their studios were affected because after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the government requisitioned over half of their studio for anti-aircraft troops in response to the bombing. And before that, Walt Disney didn't even really acknowledge the war was going on. When asked about it, he would say, or he would just straight up say what war, wouldn't even recognize it as being part of the news. And after this, part of the studio being taken over, he used the rest of the studio to get involved in making film for the war. And he made pieces such as Disney short films and cartoons and educational films for the military. They designed insignias, and they even made one movie. The movie they made was Victory Through Air Power, which is based on a book by Alexander Savinsky, which it talked the importance of air power in controlling the skies during war, which Walt Disney himself found really important. So he even financed the whole production of the movie himself. And it's a live-action and animated film that was the only movie made during the war that was influenced by the government. And it was actually a flop. It barely turned a profit for the studios, but it was still very important and a big change for propaganda during the time. More famous than the movie is the short films that Disney made with all the famous characters such as Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and all those more common characters. Examples of these would be like the one we watched, A Fearless Face, which showed Disney's Donald Duck having a dream of being a Nazi and being in Germany and then waking up free in the United States. Another is The New Spirit, which explained the new income tax that the government passed during that time and how it was important to finance the war. And then a third one would be Fall In and Fall Out, which had Donald Duck marching throughout the war and showing how long and strenuous the war was becoming towards the end. And then most of the film produced, though, wasn't for these movies or these shorts. Most of the film produced was actually educational films for the government. And these were used for recruiting and training for these recruits in the military. 90% of Disney employees were making films for this purpose of education and for the military. They made 400,000 feet of film, which is basically 68 continuous hours of film, and 90,000 feet of that was just for the Navy. And making all these films and working with the military and government gave Disney a patriotic name and made them more of a logo of the United States. And these logos were also used as insignias. Walt Disney produced over 1,000 insignias. They had 5 people that was literally just their job to make logos and badges for different groups in the military, such as bombardment squadrons for planes, where they would have like Donald Duck holding bombs or have Donald Duck riding a plane. And then a more famous one was Building Planes for Victory, which showcased Mickey holding a propeller and a wrench in the shape of a V to represent victory. And this all showed how Disney had a great effect during the war and helped the American cause during World War II.
All right. Kyle? Questions?
Do you think this propaganda that Disney used was fair?
Yeah, because they didn't really put a whole lot of it in the cartoons. Like, one of the only famous ones that I think wasn't maybe as fair was The Fearless Face, because it made a lot of stereotypes about Germany and stuff like that. But other than that, most of the film was educational and more factual.
How were these films received at the time by the public? Were they supportive of them? Did they?
As far as I know, they were supportive of them because they're just with the war and everything going on. It kind of helped sway their views because it went along with the news. And
did it have like tangible positive effects on the war effort? Like, did it? Like as far as morale, enrollment, signing up?
I would think morale would work because seeing logos on like the squadrons and stuff like that, and then also like I know they used it for nose art on planes and stuff like that to help represent people express themselves or whatever.
Okay. Any other questions? It's just me and Cassidy asking questions today. Hi, thanks, Kyle.